What is up, guys? It is Angelo back again with another Agent Office Hours. We're ready to go into this. Today's going to be a good one, guys. So today is going to be about the as-is agreement, right? As-is agreement, what is that? Just a real quick overview. This is the thing that you're going to use probably the most out of any agreement, next to the purchase agreement, of course, on your way to purchase investment properties. This is going to be a tool that just helps you expedite the entire thing. Now, before we get into that, I got something to show you guys. We got to go through the intro. All right, here we go. All right, so getting right into it, I'm going to add this over to the screen right now. The as-is agreement. Now, why do I bring this up? I bring this up because this is going to be your superpower. For investors, a lot of people don't know this. For investors, you want to use this as-is agreement as much as possible because it only does two benefits to the seller. The rest are all benefits for you as the buyer. What is the main benefit for the seller? This is saying right here, we can't ask you to do any repairs. If we do, you can leave the contract by termination of buyer's agreement. And keep looking for another buyer. What is the second thing? We can't ask you for any buyer's credits. You can't, we can't be like, hey, there's some issues here. We need you to pay closing costs. We need you to pay for this. We need you to pay for, the repairs, right? There's a bunch of ways around. Hey, what's up, all-nighter hider? What's up, bro? So we're getting right down into it. The as-is addendum. Of course, you're going to see at the top, this is just referencing what contract it is. It's going into line 5. Except is modified by this addendum. All of the terms and conditions contained in this purchase agreement remain in full force and effect. In the event that there's a conflict between the terms and conditions of this amendment and the terms and conditions of the purchase agreement, this as-is addendum shall prevail. So real quick, just letting you guys know right out the gate. Oh, and you know what? Let me backtrack because I told you guys the two benefits of the seller. Two benefits of the seller are you don't have to worry about somebody asking you to do repairs. You don't have to worry about somebody trying to get you to pay for something. And I guess you can throw in a third one, right? The third one would be just time saved. Usually if you're doing it as is, you're really just having a contractor walk through. You're doing something very quick and simple. Let's talk about the buyer's benefits, right? The ultimate thing is that seller can't say anything while you're going through this process of inspection. While you have, hey, what's up, Jason? What's up, Chad? Woo! So, woo! All right. So getting right back to it. The benefits for you as the buyer with this as-is addendum. You don't have to wait for the seller to respond. You don't have to have their permission in order to go ahead and move past the inspection. It's a take it or leave it scenario, they call it. So this is essentially saying, hey, I'm going to do this inspection. I'm going to buy it as is. But if that inspection comes back and I don't like it, I'm getting out and I'm getting my earnest money back. You can't argue with that. So boom, security and getting your earnest money back. We'll see it here very shortly. The other benefit, right? Let's say that we go through a transaction. We use the as-is addendum, and they try to, how do we say, that. Let's say if the inspection comes back bad, we can't ask for them to do any repairs. Well, we can't ask for any repairs or any buyer's credits, but I'll tell you what we can do. There's nothing in here that says anything about reduction of price. That is most often the leverage that we use when we use these as-is addendums. So what I'm saying is, hey, we got this inspection back. It's bad, but it's not necessarily something we want to throw away the house for or the property for. So what are we going to do? We're going to be like, hey, we're only willing to pursue if you're willing to continue on $5,000 less, because that's going to be what the cost is to do the repairs. You write it on an addendum, it's an addendum. You write it on another separate, it's amendment. Sorry about that. You write it on an amendment to change the prior agreement that has been, accepted at whatever price it is. And you save $5,000 less. Send it off to them. If they sign it, then you can go ahead, send that inspection acceptance and condition in. So this is a very good thing. And what I'm trying to say is you're not losing your entire ability to negotiate during the inspection period with this as is. A lot of people think you are. No, this is specific toward asking the seller to do repairs and asking for buyer's credits. And buyer's credits are defined as anything like closing costs and prepaids by the lender. So yeah, I mean, you can most definitely amend the price. All right, so those are the great parts about the as is. Those are the benefits of the seller. Like I said, time, ability not to be asked for repairs, and ability to not be asked for buyer's credits. Let's get into it. So we've seen this first byline right here, just saying, hey, if there's any confusion, just know that this as is prevails over everything, even the purchase agreement. Line 10, seller and buyer acknowledge and agree the property is being sold in its existing as is condition, and seller shall not be responsible for repairs, replacement, or modification of any deficiencies, malfunctions, or mechanical defects of the property, or to any improvements thereon. Man, they really make these run-on sentences, huh? Let's see here. Including, but not limited to, the material, workmanship, or mechanical components of the structure, foundation, roof, plumbing, electrical, and sewage system, drainage and moisture conditions, air conditioning, hot water heater, and so forth. So, this is just that section, like I was saying. Can't ask for any repairs, nothing at all. All right. I appreciate it, Ryan. I know I was sneezing. So line 17, seller makes no representation or warranty to the buyer, either express or implied, as the condition of the property. So they're saying, hey, we gave you what's called the seller's residential sales disclosure, and that's what's essentially going to give you a insight as to what the seller knows about the property. Now, the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that when you're an investor, people that are around you, or maybe even this from experience, are going to say, hey, that seller's disclosure, you're admitting to anything wrong about that property. So guess what? If you haven't lived there within the past year, you can say, I don't know, to everything. All you have to say is, seller hasn't lived in the property in the last year. And then you can write, I don't know, for everything. It's very, very simple, and it's great liability save. This is also saying, when you're paired up with this as is, hey, we don't know of any other conditions. We gave you what we wanted. I'm talking from the seller's position. If there's anything, that doesn't change this agreement. That's up to you. Take it or leave it. You don't want it, then get out. The second thing, zoning. So it's your responsibility to, buyers beware and caveat emptor. Make sure that the zoning is correct. This is actually funny because this came as a concern on a property the other day, where it was a duplex that was, when you look at it, it's a duplex. When you see, the electrical meters and everything, it's a duplex, right? When you look up on the property card, the tax information and the GIS map, it all said single family. Now it's a concern, because how are we going to be able to rent this if it's, as a duplex, if the zoning is saying that it's single family? But then apparently Gary is kind of known for this. They're all over the place when it comes to their zoning. And I'm not trying to stray off here. We're going to get back to this. But lo and behold, we got an appraiser to give us a definitive answer. We're still waiting on Gary to let us know exactly the zoning situation. But yeah, I mean, understandably, they're going to say, hey, zoning, that's up to you guys. Anything, it's all up to you on determining if it's going to be beneficial for you or not. We're not held liable for anything. So line 26, hey, how you doing, Senya? No, you're good, man. You're good. All right. Let's see here. Line 26, inspections. Buyers reserve the right to independent inspections. So just like you see in the normal purchase agreement, there's two choices you can make, right? There's really three choices you can make, but when you're talking about actually doing an inspection, there's two. The third one is just waiving it, not doing it. You have the independent inspection, which is essentially straight out saying, hey, I'm going to do an inspection on this. If I find something I don't like, I'm going to ask you to do the repairs. If you're not willing to do those repairs, then we're just going to go our separate ways. The problem with doing the direct, most common traditional way of inspection is because, you are opening yourself up to liability. What happens if you ask for them to do repairs, they're not willing to, and you want to get out of the transaction and get your earnest money back? Now you got to get their signature and their permission to get your earnest money back. Let's say you asked for something that was ridiculous. You'll see that a lot of agents do this. Hey, we went independent inspection. You don't want to be in this transaction no more. You let me know before even the report came back. What we're going to do is we're going to create a laundry list of items to put on the inspection response. And then we're going to be like, hey, do these repairs. If you don't do them, then we want out of the transaction. Vice versa side, let's say I'm on the listing side. I'm going to be telling you, hey, bro, they're just trying to get out of this transaction. They made like 100, repairs on this list here. Let's try and dispute this. We might be able to keep them going. And now you're creating a dispute, right? There's so many liabilities, and I'm just giving one example that I often see. But that's why those independent inspections, unless those are really just aimed for the homeowners, because it's the homeowners that really are going to care about how all of these small minor things are. You guys, and I apologize if you guys can hear my baby in the background, you guys are going to be looking for what is going to be the most cost efficient, what is going to be able to get me the rents that I'm looking for. And not all of that is going to compare when you're talking about independent. But right here, you see in the as is, it's saying reserves the right to an independent inspection. This is the same language that's in your purchase agreement. The difference is this is held underneath the as is codes. So the as is addendum. So, let's see, at buyer's expense. So there's no, trying to get the seller to pay for it. Again, unless otherwise agreed. So this is a really good point here. A lot of times people get mad that they can't come to terms with repairs, or even in the as is, that they can't come to terms and they want to exit the transaction. You have the ability to put that charge onto the seller to be like, hey, you knew about this issue. We're going to leave this issue, or we're going to leave this transaction. But because you knew about it and didn't say it, and I went and spent $500 on the inspection, you're going to have to pay for the inspection. I'm getting my money back. I'm getting my money back. We're going to keep going. And, you're perfectly capable. You can do that with appraisal if you wanted to too. So the next one here, conducted by a licensed independent inspector or qualified independent contractor selected by the buyer. Hey, shout out to all the inspectors. Shout out to my boy, or my guy, I should say, Jamie Wynn with Wynn, or Jamie Green with Wynn Home Inspections. I use that guy. I like him. He's awesome. Again, I can't necessarily say, go and only use this guy. If we get into a transaction, I'm going to send you a list, but that's the guy that I like. He's been great consistently, and I think some of you guys even used him. All right, so line 36, if buyer's inspections uncover any previously undisclosed defects in the property, buyer shall have blank days beginning of the day following the date of acceptance of the purchase agreement to either terminate or waive and continue. That's essentially what it's saying. It says terminate the agreement or continue on. That's that take it or leave it I was talking about. And this would be exactly where you would say how many days of inspection you're going to want. So what was it? So, this is kind of all referring to the same thing here. You're talking about, going in, getting that report. Hey, you knew about this. We're going to get out of this transaction. We want our earnest money back, and you're going to pay for the inspection if it was something obvious, right? I wouldn't recommend you making sure they pay for it, but if they did something like rude, then yeah, definitely have them pay for it. Let's see here. Terminate the purchase agreement by mutual release and earnest money. So yeah, like I was saying, get your earnest money, get out. If buyer does not terminate the agreement in writing, request additional time to respond within the specified time periods. So, of course, you're saying 10 days. If you don't say 10 days, what does that mean? That means you're probably accepting the property in its conditions. You didn't dispute. You didn't say no. You know what I mean? A lot of people get that mistaken. Big thing that I learned relatively recently within the past couple of months is just not saying anything when you're unhappy about something can open you up to liabilities legally. It's like, well, you didn't dispute it. You didn't say it was wrong. Well, it was kind of obvious it was wrong. You know what I mean? Well, you didn't say that. You should have said something, you know? So always make sure, even if it's a text message, always make sure you at least present yourself in a dispute, you know, that you don't agree with it. So what was it? So yeah, right here. I mean, you have 10 days. Let's say the inspector's not getting out there in time. Now you're probably going to have to request for 10 days. Remember though, you're requesting for 10 days. They don't have to agree to it. And if we were on the listing side, I'm going to tell you as my investor selling your property, hey, why are we going to give them additional days? Why, like, if we just wait, it's going to get accepted. And that's what we would want, right? We want it to get accepted. Again, you know, there's a difference of, you know, being a respectful person and then just being like, hey, let's get this deal done. Everybody's different. Some people, they're like, I like this person. Yeah, let's do it. Or no, they've been dragging their feet. We're going to, you know, force them to go. All right. So on to the next one. An inspection response by buyer requesting credits or repairs is a violation, as is addendum, shall allow seller to terminate the purchase agreement by notice of termination to buyer, and earnest money shall be promptly returned to the buyer. So even when you violate it, even when you violate the as is, that earnest money is coming right back to you. That's why I love this agreement. That's why I'm saying anybody, any of you guys, make sure you have some type of as is agreement in your purchase, whether it's with me or somebody else. You want to have this in there because even if you violate it and say the wrong thing, you're getting your earnest money back. So, of course, though, and I had a dispute with another managing broker from another brokerage, and this was the concept. He's like, you can't ask for a lower price. You're violating the as is. I'm like, no, I'm not. How am I violating? You can't ask for buyer's credits. And I'm like, what I'm asking for is an amendment to the price. I'm not asking for you to pay anything. I'm asking for you to take a lower price, you know? So, the silence and acceptance is in all legal things. Yeah, no, I mean, in all things legal. Yeah, no, Ryan, I agree with you 100%, but I didn't know that at the time. You know, when I went into this situation I was talking about, you know, that was one of those things where it's like, if you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. It's like, oh, you pissed me off. I'm not going to say anything to you, you know, whatever. And yeah, I ended up making it worse for myself because I didn't obviously say, hey, I don't like that, you know. But yeah, you know, that's just a tip to the wise. So yeah, like I said, this as is killer. I mean, you know, even if you violate it, you get your earnest money back. And then it defines the defect defined, right? So, and we're kind of flying through this. I thought this would be a little bit more in depth. I was going to talk a little bit, but let's get into it. You know, defect defined. What is a defect, right? It means a condition that would have a significant adverse effect on the value of the property, that would significantly impair the health or safety of future occupants of the property, or that if not repaired, removed, or replaced would significantly shorten or adversely affect the expected normal life of the premises. A lot of people get this wrong. A lot of people think that a defect only means that it lowers the price, the value of the property. It does not only mean that. Yes, that is a major defect. That can be a factor of getting out of a contract very easily if there's a major defect, like your foundation structure or something's going on. But look at this, how it says. That would significantly impair the health or safety of future occupants of the property. Now, let's say there's exposed wires. Let's say that there's chipped lead paint. Let's say that there's, things like that. Maybe not like a way to secure your windows or door. You know what I mean? Those are factors that are making it unsafe, you know, are making it to where it's, obviously if there's, you know, like wires standing, those are things I could argue, you know what I mean? Or if not repaired, removed, or replaced would significantly shorten the adverse effect of the expected normal life. Let's say, you know, I can make a argument for a pipe leak. You know what I mean? If there's a pipe leak and it's landing, that drip has been consistently going for who knows how long because it's a tax sale, and it's been going right on the main support beam, or okay, let's not say the main support beam. Let's say it's been going for quite a while on one of these joists, and I can see in the basement that the joist is all, you know, white, torn up, it's rotted. You know, I have to call my guy Ryan here to be able to be like, hey man, you know, help me make an argument here. This is, you know, getting jacked up from this leak. They got to fix it. and then be able to get out of the contract or make them make them reduce the price. So yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Line 55, buyer acknowledges and agrees that buyer has advised to seek appropriate counsel regarding the risks of the property in an as-is condition. And neither buyer nor seller's respective brokers are qualified, licensed, or required to conduct a due diligence or inspection with respect to the property or the surrounding areas. Something that you guys are going to see, you'll even see in this last one. Let me just finish this one off. Buyer expressly releases and holds harmless brokers from and against any liability for any defects or conditions on the property and the improvements thereon, if any. So something that you'll consistently see in all of our documentation is going to be things that are always going to be holding harmless of the broker. Why? Because it's very easy to point the finger at the broker when our job is to facilitate this for you. A lot of, it's very similar, and I've said it before. It's like, for some reason, when people get pissed off, they want to, let's say if your wedding cake got smashed, everybody gets pissed off at the wedding planner for some reason. And it's like, you can't sue the wedding planner. It wasn't my job to make, I'm not at fault for being able to destroy the cake, unless I fell in it. Maybe okay. So then, yeah, that's when you open yourself up to liability. But yeah, you'll see this all the times that there's multiple bylines protecting the brokers. And then obviously, your signature section. Well, we went through this pretty quick. It only took about 20 minutes. So tell you what, I'm going to add in a bonus document on something that we regularly use. So let's see if I can add in a bonus document here. And I'm happy that you guys get to see this, because this is the same documents we're going to use. This is and the more you guys understand this, the more that you can, hey, Senya, it's good to see all the usual suspects in here. Yeah, hell yeah. I agree with you. See Jason, see Chad, see Ryan, and yourself, So, oh man, so hopefully I don't show anything here. Let's see. Oh, no, let's go to forums. And do you guys have any specific ones you guys want to talk about? Otherwise, I'm going to just add in one. I think one that I like to add in would be, let's talk about something that you guys are going to see consistently. Let's talk about seller's disclosure. This is a good one. For those of you that haven't seen our Indiana seller's disclosure. Now, this isn't a sales disclosure. A lot of people get this misconstrued for a sales disclosure right here. So not really anything that has like bylines and the usual contract. This is going to be more on what the seller knows about the property. And I'll tell you what, guys, all of you should get a copy of this, no matter what, unless it's bought through a bank. That's the only time that you won't be able to get this, because the banks won't sign it. And there's laws that protect the banks from being able to give this. And that's all. That'll be a whole other video where we talk about the special warranties and other types of deeds that banks give out. But seller's disclosures, residential sales disclosure. Whether you're working with me or working with anyone, you need to make sure you see this before anything. Before you even send out an offer, you should be seeing this. Why? Because this is going to tell you all of the knowledge that the seller has on the property. And this is specific to Indiana, so I think it's worth you guys seeing this. So we're gonna start from the top. Well, not the very top. This looks like just where this was from. Okay, so seller states that the information contained in the disclosure is correct to the best of the seller's current actual knowledge as of the above date. The prospective buyer and the owner may wish to obtain professional advice or inspections of the property and provide for appropriate provisions in a contract between them concerning any advice, inspections, defects, or warranties obtained on the property. Yeah, obtained on the property. The representations in this form are representations of the owner and not the representation of an agent or any. So that might be what protects the banks right there. This information is for disclosure only and is not intended to be part of any contract between the buyer and the owner. Indiana law, such and such, generally requires the seller 1 to 4 unit residential, blah, 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 blah. So, and I'm trying to see if it says, This is different from what it used to say. I've been doing this for about 4 years, and they change all these documents consistently. And that's why I like to read it. Let me finish off this last sentence because, this is definitely worth reading. An owner must complete and sign the disclosure form and submit the form to the prospective buyer before an offer is accepted for the sale of the real estate. So, of course, that's saying it right now. You have the right to get this before you get the offer. Some people, they try to be slick and they try to say, hey, send in the offer first. No, 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 no. It says right here, you're supposed to get it first. All right, so let's get down into this. This is actually interesting. So this is looking like it's a little bit more stricter than what it used to be before, because it says current actual knowledge. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm no lawyer, right? I'm not a lawyer, but current actual knowledge. That's saying, hey, you should know about all of the problems, what's going on. You're the owner. You've lived in it. This is your responsibility. You should know. If you don't know, then it's going to be your own fault. This used to have a byline, and let's see if we can find it, where it says that there are no guarantees. And if that's the case, let's see if we can find. It might be around here somewhere. No, it's saying the same thing on both. So there used to be a byline that says that this is they're making no guarantees to the accuracy of this document. They took that out. So the information contained in the disclosure has been furnished by the seller, who certifies the truth is based on the seller's actual knowledge. A disclosure form is not a warranty by the owner or the owner's agent, if any, and the disclosure form may not be used as a substitute for any inspections or warranties that the prospective buyer or owner may later obtain. At or before the settlement, the owner is required to disclose any material change to the physical condition of the property or certify the purchaser settlement that is the condition of the property is substantial. Yeah. The purchaser at settlement, that the condition of the property is substantially the same as it was when the disclosure form was provided. So this is why you guys want to do final walkthroughs, because I've had it before. I've had a situation before where we're going to close. We're like, hey, do you want to do a final walkthrough? Day of the closing. He's like, yeah, sure. I was like, I definitely recommend it, dude. He's like, yeah, schedule it. And so set it up. Right before the closing, we walk up to the property, and there is a literal pipe that busted because it was so cold out. The person never turned off the water and never left on the furnace. And so pipe busted, it's spewing water through the house. I mean, like a waterfall. It wasn't even just like a small, like little pond. Like it was like a fire hose. You know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, I am so sorry. So we're trying to get NIPSCO to come out there, and NIPSCO finally came out there and turned off the water. But then the owner, we were going to sell it, I think, at like 58. It was a 2-story. Got to check up on you, Rashad. If you ever watch this video, man, definitely let's talk about that property, man, because I know that he set it up pretty nice now. But yeah, I think we were under contract at, I want to say it was listed at 70. We got out under contract at 58. And because of the spewed pipe, we were able to purchase that property at $23,000. It was incredible. Yeah. He did an awesome. This is helpful content, as is attractive to me as a contractor. 100%. Yeah, especially if you're doing contractor work. But so that's why I'm saying, make sure you're always doing a final walkthrough. For you guys that are far away, I'll physically go there, do a video, photos, and all kinds of things for you to be able to access these properties. So let's look at exactly what's in here, right? You're going to see all types of stuff. You're going to see built-in vacuum fan, clothes, dryers, washers, all this different stuff. And some unique things like cisterns. I mean, I don't even know exactly all of the things that are in here, like geothermal and heat pump. Hey, Ryan, if you see one of these, like, tell me what a geothermal heat pump is, man. Oh, I think I clicked on something. Let's see if I can click back. Hello. There we go. We're back. I accidentally clicked on the wrong button there. All right. So let's talk about the 4 columns here. This one right here is saying none, not included or rented. This is a really important column if you want to know if it does not include it, but you don't know if it's rented or not. So if you see this on, like, let's say the water softener, and it says right here, oh, there's no water softener included. Is it not included or is it rented? Because when you go through that house and you see the water softener, now you're going to be like, oh, cool, there's a water softener, and it's saying that there's not. No, it's rented. So you got to make sure that you connect to whoever owns it. Second one, defective. You don't want to see anything in here, man. If you see anything in here, it's going to be not good news, right? Not defective. So that's the owner saying, hey, to my knowledge, it should be good. And then the do not know. Everybody loves saying the do not know. It is so crazy that they took out that language, because I hated that language, and it is way more liable now. It's way more stricter now of this agreement, because it used to say that this is not a guarantee of the seller's current knowledge. This is only, they're just saying this is only just helpful information. This is a bonus, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, what? So they don't have to say everything correct? Like, what's the point of this then? So they took that out. They made this a more serious contract here. Pretty cool. Septic holding tank. I mean, you guys won't have to worry about that in Gary. I mean, maybe, close to the water. I don't know. But for the most part, everything's through the city. When you start getting out there in LaPorte, and if we ever decide to start looking out at like Michigan City and stuff like that, that's where we got to worry about those septic tanks and stuff. Because out there in the sticks, man, they get real septic-y out there. So yeah, I mean, just a mass amount of details regarding these different aspects to the house, right? So here we got a note. It means a condition that would have a significant defect. Oh, okay. So it's just explaining to you what defect means again. So if there's ever a problem, you can even know the age of the roof. If there's ever a problem where it is bad, then they're going to explain it in one of these two boxes. That's why the first thing I do before I even actually start looking at what the problems are, I go to these two boxes. I'm like, scrolling on my phone and saying, okay, let's look at these two boxes. What's written in here? And if anything's written in here or here, it is no bueno. More than likely they're explaining something that is really bad with the property. And I've had situations that weren't, where they just put seller hasn't lived in the property in the last year. They can put that in there too. But yeah, usually it's not a good sign. You can know if the roof has leaks, if there's multiple layers, any hazardous conditions. Yeah, I mean, the one thing that you want to make sure is pretty much all of this is going to say no. The few things that you always want to make sure does say yes is if it's on a public or private road, and if if it's on a floodplain, of course. But if it's, where is it? Yeah, I want to show you guys this one. Right here. Our furnace, wood stove, chimney, flue, all in working order. This is talking about the overall heat system. Is it in working order? Yes, hopefully. A lot of people misunderstand this because they're saying wood stove, chimney, flue, and they're like, but furnace is in there. So if the word furnace is in there, it should say yes, because if that furnace isn't working and you see it no, then you're going to know right off the bat. But a lot of people, they kind of gloss over that. So pretty good, guys. Let's see. Can I toss in one more? Oh, George Thermal. The geothermal is a system that uses pipes going into the ground to heat and cool a house. Really? Like an earth radiator. That's pretty cool. That is really cool. I wonder where that's common at. I mean, it wouldn't be in here if it wasn't common in Indiana, right? No? I don't know. Maybe it's just covering a vast amount. That's got to be some country stuff, man. I know the people in the city, man, they look at us like everything's country out here, All right, so let's see. Let's do one more, guys, because we're only half an hour into this. Is there any documents that you guys would recommend to try and look over? If not, like I said, I'm going to just choose a random one here. And I'm trying to think. I could show you the lead-based paint one. The lead-based paint one's very simple. It just says, hey, do you know about lead-based paint? No, they're saying that they don't know. And then there's a handout that every realtor is supposed to give you. Let's see here. Let's see. Trying to see if there is a let's see. ADR. I think the ADR is worth explaining. I don't want to over complex this, but I think the ADR is worth explaining. Lease agreements. I'll have to make an episode on lease agreements. I'll try and do that this week. Okay, so we're going to do ADR then. ADR is the Alternative Dispute Resolution Agreement. This one I like to include too. You guys will often see, if you're putting in offers with me, you're going to see me toss this document in. And I want you to know, like, a good realtor is going to be kind of, they're going to be artistic with the, they're going to be, maneuvering creative with the documents that they choose to throw in there, because they're going to know what type of person you are and how you're able to go through a transaction. So oftentimes, knowing you guys, the two things that I know I'm going to throw in: alternative dispute resolution and as-is agreement. So let's talk about this as-is agreement. And this one might be 2 pages, right? Okay, so this will be the last one we go over, guys. And you guys got a couple bonus ones, man. I'll tell you what. This is the exterior documents that come with the purchase agreement. And we spent a night talking about the purchase agreement. So if you haven't seen it, go watch that video. Super helpful if we talked about a purchase offer and you were trying to understand something. Definitely. All right, so starting at the top, alternative dispute resolution. Let me give you a quick summary on this. I love this document almost as much as I love the as-is document, because this document is saying, if there's a dispute between you and the seller, and that is up to $6,000, in liquidated damages, right? So for some reason, somebody felt like someone did something wrong, and it cost them $6,000 or less. This is saying, hey, we're not going to go to the courts. What we're going to do is go through arbitration and mediation, and it gets handled through the Better Business Bureau. The Better Business Bureau sends out this thing called a arbitrator or mediator, and they're essentially like a middle party. That middle party is going to hear both sides and basically create an answer for the middle, a middle settlement. Hey, this is what sounds fair between what both of you guys want. Do you guys agree to it? Yes. Okay, we're good. And I'll tell you what, that'll save you thousands and thousands of dollars in court costs and attorney's fees. So I love using this because it protects you guys. Whether you're a seller or buyer, I think everyone should use these. So starting it right off, we're going to skip this top one because this is just referring to what purchase agreement this is attached to. And notice that all of them say addendum or amendment. Addendum is an additional document getting added on to the purchase agreement all at once. Amendment is something that's getting changed. And maybe some of you guys know this already from contracts, but if you're ever curious of why, agents or, different professionals are going to present you with these documents, that's why. Okay, so line 4, buyer and seller agree that in the event either party defaults in the performance of the obligations of such party under the purchase agreement, or in the event there is a dispute between the buyer and seller with respect to their obligations arise out of the purchase and sale of the property that does not exceed the total sum of $6,000, the dispute shall be submitted to binding arbitration. All amounts referred to in this amendment is in US dollars. Yep, you do not want that in rupees. So side note, right? The reason I bring that up is because the other day I was talking to someone and I was like, yeah, I just paid for a website, to develop for Estate Squared Away. And they were like, oh, that's pretty cool. How much you pay? And I was like, oh, it was like, a few $100. It wasn't that expensive, They're like, oh, that's cool. Who'd you send it to? I was like, oh yeah, out in Pakistan. Yeah, I guess they, they do a 10-page or a 10-page website for $290. That's insane. And so they were like, I wonder what the currency is there. So it was so funny because we looked it up. It was they do rupees, and $290 is equivalent to me giving him 25 grand. I was like, I was like, dang. All right, this website better be killer. I'm telling you what. But yeah, no, man, that was crazy. All right, anyways, let's see here. So sorry for that sidetrack. That was a good story. All right, so line 11. If buyer breaches the purchase agreement and the total amount in controversy is greater than $6,000, seller shall be entitled to file suit in a court to recover, in addition to any remedies available under the purchase agreement, all reasonable costs and expenses, including attorney's fees, incurred by seller. Okay, so he's saying, yeah, I mean, if it's over 6,000, seller, it's your job if you want to go and file suit. Line 15. If seller breaches the purchase agreement and the total amount in controversy is greater than 6,000, buyer shall be entitled to file suit in a court to recover, in addition to the remedies available under the purchase agreement, including specific performance. All reasonable costs and expenses include attorney's fees incurred by the buyer. So equal rights, you know. Now let's go to line 19. The administrator shall be through the Better Business Bureau, the BBB. And if the BBB is not able to conduct arbitration because it's not it does not operate in the county where the property is located. Oh, that's interesting. So they're not located everywhere. And my question is, what about like new companies? Because like I know it takes 2 years to get signed up with the Better Business Bureau, or is that just for like reviews and whatever benefits they have? I mean, I'm just curious about that. So but another BBB is, then the BBB shall be the administrator unless the parties agree otherwise in writing. So you can also decide, hey, you know, we don't need to go over here. This is my settlement. This is what I want. Sounds pretty good to me. It sounds like most court situations. All right, line 23. Line 23. If a party believes in good faith that the total amount in controversy exceeds 6,000, that the party shall give the arbitrator and the non-objecting party written notice and supportive documents of such objectives within time limits imposed by the arbitrator. The arbitrator will determine whether the total amount is controversy in controversy is within $6,000. However, such determination is not binding upon the parties. If a party desires, yeah, there you go. If a party desires to contest the arbitrator's determination at the total amount of controversy, the parties may file a declaration judgment action in a court within 15 days of the date the arbitrator notifies the parties in writing. So that's interesting. It's saying essentially that, hey, you know, we're going to let the arbitrator determine if it's worth 6,000 or not. You can turn in the documents that you think, but if it's not worth 6,000, then that's what they're going to say. You know, if you want to contest that, you got to go to actual court now. You know, so you know, where's that line definitive? You know, it sounds like you have to hear what they say, and then within the 15 days, you have to take it to the next level, the arbitrator, or, you know, through the actual courts. Mediation, then arbitration, right? All right, so if it is determined that the total amount in controversy exceeds 6,000, either party may withdraw from arbitration. However, both parties may voluntarily consent in writing to arbitration. All right, so yeah, let me get back on topic. If it's determined the total amount of controversy exceeds 6,000, either party may withdraw from arbitration. Okay, so it's just saying, hey, if I oh wow, it's over 6,000, okay, I don't want to fight anymore. You know, they're probably going to try and make a settlement outside. Party begins to process the arbitration by giving the other party and the Better Business Bureau a notice to start arbitration by briefly stating the party's claim, the grounds for it, and the total amount in controversy. So this one, okay, let me say it again. A party begins the process of arbitration by giving the other party and the BBB notice to start arbitration. Okay, so you have to notify everyone. Sure, I'm sure if they hired an attorney, that's what they'd say. If a party seeks an award for loss of wages, damage damages for personal injury or mental anguish. Consequential. There we go. Hey, don't judge me, guys. Hey, I know how to do this job, but like this reading thing, you guys are gonna get, help me get better here. Any other elements of damage that the party shall give the other party, and to the BBB written notice thereof. So these are a multitude of ways that they could be seeking those awards for. Okay. The notice shall state that the amount claimed for each item for which the award is sought. This sounds just like a generalized, situation, right? Of course, I'm pissed off because, this has happened, right? I'm pissed off because this is how much I think it's worth, and this is how I want it to be remedied. Like I was saying earlier, tell me all the stuff that you want and how you feel. Tell me all the stuff you want and how you feel. We'll make an agreement in the middle and make it happen. Parties shall share equally the cost of the arbitrator process by determined under the rules of the BBB. If by reason of membership in the BBB, a party is not responsible for costs, the other party, okay, hold on. Is it saying that if you are a member that you don't have to pay for it? Or is that, it might be a subscription being a member. Yeah, so maybe. Okay, so a party that's not responsible for such cost, the other party shall pay for the own share of such costs, of its own share. Okay, so in arbitration process, the arbitrator shall neither award attorney fees nor allocate between the parties any other costs or expenses incurred by a party in the arbitration process. Each party is responsible for their own attorney's fees, costs, and expenses. Fair enough. You go through this, pay for it. All of the terms of the purchase agreement, all of other terms and conditions of the purchase agreement to which this amendment is attached remains unchanged. The amendment shall survive closing. Sign here. So yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of legal jargon for you if you weren't curious. But overall, I love this document. I think it saves you guys. I think that the as is, I will always try to do this for you. I'll always obviously put the purchase agreement in there. I would have the seller's disclosure, lead-based paint. And you know what? Fine. We'll go over the lead-based paint because this will be the final document that you'll see in the attachment. So we went over the purchase agreement and all of the other documents that can be involved in the purchase. That's what I should have named it. All of the documents in a purchase for investors. But so I will attach the purchase agreement, obviously your pre-approval or your bank statement. And then let's see here. The seller's disclosure, you guys seen that one. Lead-based paint I'm about to pull up. As is addendum, the alternative dispute resolution. And then there's a last one called the office policy. So you know what? Since we've gotten this far, we're just going to go over both of those documents real quick. And this will be the entire package of what you'll see in your offers. There you go. Lead-based paint will be extremely quick. I mean, it's very simple here. All right. So, where is it? Where are you? Okay. Cool. So very simple. This is the lead-based paint. So real quick overview. Before 1978, there used to be lead that they mixed in with the paint. Then they started realizing that, it gets old, it chips, and then now kids are getting sick because they're putting it in their mouths. So now what we're going to do is if anybody has any lead in their paint on their house, you have to sand it and repaint it over. Very simple process to mediate, but a lot of people don't realize to do it. You guys that are purchasing in Gary are going to run into this. Definitely be aware. Definitely know, hey, there's a lot of chipped paint here. Can you sand that down and repaint it for me? Good to go. All right, so let's hop right into it. Number 4, lead warning and statements. Every buyer of an interest of any interest in residential real property on which a residential dwelling was built prior to 1978. That's funny. Autocorrect to George. LOL. Yeah. So every buyer of any interest in residential real property on which a residential dwelling was built prior to 1978 is notified that such property may present exposure to lead from lead from lead-based paint that may place young children at risk of developing lead poisoning. Lead poisoning in young children may produce permanent neurological damage, including learning disabilities, reduced intelligence quotients, behavioral problems, and impaired memory. Lead poisoning also poses a particular risk to pregnant women. The seller of any interest in residential real property is required to provide the buyer with any information on lead-based paint hazards from risk assessments or inspections in the seller's possession, and notify the buyer of any known lead-based paint hazards. A risk assessment or inspection for possible lead paint hazards is recommended prior to purchase. So that just itemized everything I explained to you guys earlier. If it's before 1978, hope it ain't got paint in it. So my issue started with putting lead finish. So my issue started with putting lead fishing weights in my mouth. Oh, when you were a kid? Oh, okay. So like, so you had gone through that, huh? I don't know if you guys watched Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan kind of joked with somebody and was like, "Hey, can you like affect your weight in the UFC fights?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what they do all the time. And like they cut weight. They do it with water. You know, they cut their water weight up to an extreme amount." And he was like, "Yeah, but the guy that Joe had on, right? I don't know his name. He's like, "Yeah, but what if somebody wants to like go up in weight? Like, could they just immediately go up in weight? Like, could they like put a bunch of lead in their mouth like to weigh more?" And and Joe was like, Joe was like, "What? You know, like you would never want to weigh more." It was hilarious. It's a whole, maybe it was a skit. It was hilarious. Anyways, let's get back to this. So seller's disclosure: presence of lead-based paint and or lead-based paint hazards. I see, Jason. So you're saying that, oh my God, I've done that quite a bit too. You know, hey, we got to go fishing, man. I mean, you're right around the corner. So you're saying that the lead from the weights, the fishing weights, you would open them with your mouth, and you know, like you could use pliers, but like you would open them with your mouth and you could get poisoning from that. You there, Chad? Sorry if I'm jumping all over the place on you guys. Anyways, so let's see here. So do you know about any lead-based paint, known lead-based paint or lead-based paint hazards are present in the housing, or seller has no knowledge of lead-based paint or lead-based paint hazards in the housing? So I'm gonna tell you right now, if we're selling your investment property or we're just selling your property in general, I'm gonna tell you, hey, do you know anything about lead in the property? Is it older than 1978? You don't? Okay, we're going to put don't know, you know, because you start saying yes, now you're opening up to a bunch of like liability, right? Now you're going to have to do the inspection for lead. Now you're going to have to see if it does come back, then you're going to have to redo the whole house. It's very simple, guys. You see chipped paint, sand it down, repaint it. You know, that's all you got to do. You know what I mean? I don't got any knowledge of any lead-based paint, and I'm not telling you guys to lie. Don't lie. You know, if you truly do, and it's very obvious, then yes, you know, but I wouldn't necessarily, if I owned a house and, you know, I knew it was older, don't go searching for problems, right? Sand it down, paint it, and be like, hey, I don't know if that was lead-based paint or not, but it's not a problem no more. Okay, so this one is just saying about records and reports. Let's see here. Jason, yes, the split and shots. Oh, okay, I see. All-nighter hider. All-nighter hider is saying it was the split shots. Yes, the split shots. I don't think I have lead brain issues, but who knows? LOL. I'm just surprised that they're still allowed me to make them out of lead. Oh, that they're still allowed to make them out of lead. That's crazy. You know, I mean, that is crazy. Yeah, I never realized that. All right, so let's keep it going. So yeah, like I was saying, records. If you know about it and you have records, okay, you can't lie because maybe they'll search up, maybe they'll find a way to know that you have records. So just be mindful. You would want to report it on the seller's residential real estate disclosure. If you don't, like I said, if you don't offhand, I wouldn't necessarily go digging and trying to find out. It's always based on your current actual knowledge, guys, current actual knowledge. So 31 to 34, you're going to see this first one. This is regarding the buyer. So this is you buying a investment property, right? Instead of us looking at you like a seller. The buyer has received a copy of all the information, but of course you're going to get a copy. So you're going to have your initials here once you get that copy. Buyers received a pamphlet, Protect Your Family from Lead in Your Home. For those of you that are not on the Discord, make sure you're in the Discord. We're going to be having an event coming up where we talk about real estate tax and how investors are managing their real estate taxes with David White. So make sure you join that. I'll talk about it at the end here too. But in the Discord, you guys are going to see this pamphlet already in our Gary, Indiana resources. So you can go in there and read over it. The next thing, buyer has checked one of two items here. So receive 10-day opportunity, mutually agreed upon period to conduct a risk assessment. So essentially a part of the inspection or an independent inspection. And it says waived. You've waived the risk assessment. You're not worried about it. Let's keep it going. Broker acknowledgement. This is saying that, hey, the listing broker has to acknowledge that they told their seller what to do. This is a big thing that holds us liable. You notice through all the transactions, there's never anything saying that we're liable. This right here, huge liability. Certificate of accuracy. The following parties have reviewed the information above and certify to the best of their knowledge that the information they have provided is true and accurate. Their certifications and acknowledgement may be executed simultaneously or in two or more counterparts, each of which shall be deemed an original, but all of which together shall constitute one and the same instrument. The parties agree that the certification and knowledge may be transmitted between them electronically or digitally. The parties intend that electronically or digitally transmitted signatures constitute original signatures and are binding on the parties. The original documents shall be promptly delivered if requested. So we could sign it on the buyer's side, they could sign it on the seller's side, and essentially sign them both together. Jason, I'm looking forward to it too. So like I was saying earlier, guys, we are going to have this event coming up. Let me see if I can pull up a picture about it because I want to talk about it almost every day until it's going to happen, at least toward the end. And we're toward the end of our hour here. So let's see. Oh, I got to open the Discord app. Where are you? And we're going to show a quick picture about it. All right. Here we go. I am looking in our Discord right now, and I'm going to hop back over to you guys to bring you over here. Oh, man. I need to be able to work this a little better. It's my own fault. All right. Let's see here. Let's see if we can end. Uh-oh. You still there? My screens went black. Everybody still there? Oh, no. Come back. We're still good. Okay, good. We came back. Sorry, my screens went black. I don't know if it went black on your guys' side, but all right, let's see if we can switch off this. Bada bing, bada boom. Hey guys, and by the way, I noticed that I look up and to the right. Just to let you know, I got two monitors. That's what it recommended for people that stream, is for you to have two independent monitors so you can watch the chat all the time. Okay, cool. I appreciate it, Jason. I was wondering, my screens went black on me and I was like trying to see. All right, so last thing. All right, let me know when you guys see it. Bada bing, bada boom. In the Discord right now, you guys see the estate planning online. Shout out to All Nighter Writer or All Nighter Hider for giving us the name estate planning. But this is going to be estate planning online. So we're going to talk about real estate taxes. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be with our guy, David White. If you guys need tax services, he's going to be able to help you here in the near future. He's booked up right now, but it looks like it's popping back and forth. If you guys aren't in the Discord, make sure you join the Discord. The link will be everywhere. If you have trouble, message me, comment on one of the videos. I'll be paying attention. It's going to be this Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. We're going to know how are people doing it in the area for Northwest Indiana and especially Gary. How are investors moving their money around? What are they doing? I mean, my question is going to be right off the rip. Hey, 1031 exchange, man. I know they're doing them out there. They're rolling that money over to the next project and not having their taxes get touched, from income tax. So it'll be interesting to see. It's going to be really, really exciting, guys. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. Before I let you go, I'm going to do this little outro because I'm so proud of my little 10-second video. I made it myself. So, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.